everyone. I would like to talk about Heather and Maurice in this video because we have some pretty big updates regarding Maurice. Last we knew he was shot 4 times and he was hospitalized, and we really didn't have much updates on his current condition. Mandy wasn't really saying much. She was telling people that she wasn't going to be responding to messages and she was asking for prayers, and then she posted this picture with her and Maurice that says, "My soulmate, my best friend, my hubby, you know I ain't going anywhere, baby. Ain't left your side. Once it's us, it's forever." And Maurice shared this picture and said, "My ride or die forever." We now have an unfortunate update regarding this situation. A few different people shared the news that Maurice is allegedly paralyzed from the waist down. So one user on the MauriceMandy Reddit shared this comment where someone said he's paralyzed from the waist down, and someone said, "What? Where did you get that info from?" And they said, "My husband knows him." And they said, "Oh wow, is it permanent?" And this was shared in the MauriceMandy Reddit, and even the mod of the Reddit commented and confirmed that this is true. For the most part, anytime someone shares false information in that Reddit, Jessica will come through and clear it up, and she hasn't cleared anything up. She's been pretty quiet since she confirmed that he's still in the hospital surrounded by family. A few different people said that he was paralyzed from the waist down. Another person claimed it was from the chest down. But either way, it's looking like he is paralyzed. And I'm sure he's really struggling coming to terms with that, because that is a lot to try to learn to accept, that you're never going to be able to walk again. And some people are like, well, now they can't ever have a baby. But I don't know if that's entirely true, because I actually had an older friend who did get shot in the neck and he was paralyzed from the waist down. And all he had to do was take some pills and he was still able to get up just like a normal person. He may still be able to do that, but there's going to be a lot of things he won't be able to do anymore, and I think it's significantly going to impact his quality of life. And you guys know I'm a big number girl. I like to look at statistics, numbers, and I could not find the statistics for the state of California, but this is the statistics for Philadelphia when it comes to how many shootings end up in paralysis. And nearly for every 5 people who are shot, 1 person usually dies and the other 4 end up getting injured and hospitalized, and 1 out of 7 people who get shot end up paralyzed. These were the most recent statistics I could find, but out of 1,132 people who were shot, 86% of them were not paralyzed and 14% of them were paralyzed. And out of that 14%, 87% of that 14% was only partially paralyzed, meaning that they're only paralyzed in either one limb, one side of the body, or the lower body. And I'm pretty sure Maurice falls in that category if he's just paralyzed from the waist down. And 13% of the 14% are fully paralyzed. On average, a gunshot victim who was paralyzed typically stays about 11.9 days in the hospital, and their hospital charges are around $180,000 on average. In 75% of these cases, Medicaid ends up paying for the cost, but it says the average length of stay for victims with any gun-related paralysis, hospitalizations, including but not limited to their initial hospitalization, was 11.9 days and ranged from 1 day to 101 days. Like I just mentioned, with hospital charges of around $180,000 on average per visit, and these initial hospital costs represent only a small fraction of the total cost of care, which includes cost of post-hospital discharge medical care and potential rehospitalization, because the first year after someone's shot, their likeliness of having to be rehospitalized is a lot higher. And it says over half of shooting victims had at least 1 rehospitalization related to paralysis complications, with an average of 5 additional hospitalizations in the 2 years after the shooting. Like I said, he has a very long road ahead of him, and this shows the percent of paralysis victims with gun-related hospital visits by discharge status. So it shows that once they're discharged, over 60% of patients were discharged from the hospital and they needed assisted living or specialized nursing care, where they needed full-time nursing care 24/7. And it shows that 60% of them need specialized care, 31% had to go to another facility like another hospital or like a rehab. 29% of them were able to go home and not take care of themselves, but they still had to have someone else take care of them, but they're at least able to go home. And 7% of them did others. So it looks like only 30 to 40% of victims who were paralyzed get to go back home. This is after their discharge from the hospital. So, I mean, later down the road, I'm sure those percentages of people who eventually get to go back home become higher. But even after he's done with the hospital, there's still a high chance that he's going to have to go to another facility depending on his current condition. I can see Mandy stepping up and being his full-time caretaker, and she keeps like reassuring him, "Oh baby, don't worry, I love you, I'm not going anywhere, I love you more than ever." Now that may explain why it seemed like Mandy wasn't doing too much after he was shot, because like I was saying, like if my man got shot, I would be looking like I was shot when the ambulance showed up, because I would be trying to do everything I could to stop the bleeding. But if he was saying, "Oh, I can't feel my body," and if Mandy told the 911 dispatch operator that, they could have advised her, "Hey, do not touch him," because typically if someone has a neck or spinal cord injury, they don't want people to touch them because they can make it worse. Now let's talk about Heather and Xavier. So the countdown is officially on because she has to move out of her shelter by the 8th. It is July 5th. I'm filming this. The video will probably be up July 6th. And I believe that they're going to start opening the shelter up to other people. I guess it's going to become like a student apartment where students can rent the room out for like $1,800 a month, and it's like 5-6 month long leases. And I'm pretty sure that changes on the 8th, so I'm pretty sure her last day is going to be the 7th, or it's going to be the 8th at the latest. And it seems like Heather is not trying to really do much to figure anything out except be online and beg for sponsors and TikTok donations. There hasn't been no sense of urgency to pack her things and figure out the next move. She's just hoping that someone hands her a house or a townhome. And I was going through her post the other day and I noticed that she left this note on the fridge for Xavier while she was gone, and she had to tell Xavier to please not drink her breast milk. She explained in the note that apparently the breast milk's like over 4 days old, so she cannot give it to her baby Weston because she doesn't have a freezer, she only has a fridge, so it will no longer be good. And I guess Xavier's just been tilting it back and chugging it, and she is like, "Dude, stop drinking my breast milk, I'm saving it for a bath." If the milk is not good enough for baby Weston to have after 4 days because it's spoiled, then it's obviously not good for Xavier to be chugging it. I just don't get it. It literally makes me nauseous to think about that. And I think he has like some weird mommy fetish, because there's that one video where her and him were in the tent and he's like literally hugging her saying, "Oh, I want to worship mommy," and now he's chugging her breast milk. I don't know. Here is a close-up picture of Xavier, Heather, and the baby at one of their most recent visits, and we can see a close-up look of his shaved-off eyebrows. And Heather says that she has been promised that they were going to stay at this shelter that they're at now for as long as they needed. But I'm so tired of Heather spreading false information, because I even went back and looked at the shelter's website when it was talking about how it's initially funded, and it even said straight up that this is only going to be a shelter for up to 7 months max. The time is up. She knew around this time of the year the shelter was no longer going to be available. When she was on live the other day, she's like, yeah, the shelter told us we could stay here as long as we needed to until they got us a townhouse or a home. And I'm just like, okay, if they're just giving out free townhomes and houses, then where do I need to sign up? But because I could use me a free house. But seriously though, I have to wonder, like, has she just been lying to herself for so long that she's starting to believe her own delusions that she was going to live there forever and somebody was just going to come along and save her? Or does she know that her time was up and she's just saying this to kind of not take any kind of accountability whatsoever for the fact that she hasn't done anything to change her situation? Heather keeps constantly bringing up the fact, I deserve a house because I am a law-abiding citizen. I don't have no criminal history, which that's all cap. And then she says, I've been a tax-paying citizen. I've done so much for this country. I'm like, what? She said, I have paid so much taxes. Like, I can't even remember the last time this girl has had like a W-2 or 1099 job that she's had to file taxes on. But she tries to say, oh, I pay sales tax, you know, so when she goes and buys food, she has to pay some change or a few dollars in sales tax, and she feels like she is owed a house because of that. And she's like, no, I used to buy all these fancy hotel rooms that were $200-300. I had to pay like $50 tax on those. That adds up. But that was years ago as she was doing that, because we haven't seen her do that. She was living in a tent for like 3 years before she finally got into this shelter. Another thing is she keeps throwing around that she pays taxes, but the thing is, with CASHAPP, PayPal, all these different things you can make money on online, if you make over $600 a year, you have to pay 24%. I know it's 24% in my state back in taxes. And I know she's made over $600 at least on Cash App this past year, and I highly doubt she's putting that money aside and paying her taxes back at the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time she does finally get a job again and has to file taxes, that she ends up having to owe back taxes. But that is just all pure speculation. I have no idea if she's been paying her taxes or not. But that is it for this video, guys. I guess we will see what happens in a few days when she has to move out. I highly doubt she's gonna leave peacefully and without a fight. We have to look at all the times in the past when she was told to leave places that she was staying at, or squatting, or people that helped her out. Every single time the police had to be called and they literally had to force her to leave. I predict some pretty chaotic lives in the near future, and you guys already know I'll be here to update you guys. But let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.